I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
Vice President Kamala Harris, in her first TV interview since becoming the Democratic nominee, quickly brushing off Donald Trump's comments on her racial identity. As the vice president hits the campaign trail, there is a growing focus on a group of voters that doesn't usually get recognized as a political demographic. That is mixed race voters, people of two or more races. Joining us now, NBC News correspondent and co-anchor of NBC News Daily, Morgan Radford. She sat down with a group of mixed race and multi-ethnic voters to get their take on this election. Morgan, it is great to see you. What did they tell you?
Hey.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It is a new day. We thank the good Lord it's a new day. Thank God it is a new day. So good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. It's me again, WJNI Channel 1 Life, many seasons. We got something quite interesting here. I'm not sure if they're still undecided, but these are a group of people, mixed race Americans. And it's a hot topic because most of the time they're trying to figure out where do I belong, and they just fit in. But we're going to go through their interview and what they think about Kamala Harris, their personal thoughts, and then we'll take it from there. Please put your comments in the comment section below. I think this is going to be quite interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go.
But even though they said those boxes are getting better and a little bit more inclusive over time, people's perceptions politically can still be pretty narrow. Take a look.
I identify as Indian American and white. Hispanic, Asian.
They're the face of a changing nation.
When anybody asks, I just say I'm black and Puerto Rican.
All my grandparents are from a different ethnic background.
Multiracial Americans are now the fastest growing racial or ethnic group in the country over the last decade. And their voting power will be significant. In 6 battleground states, the population with 2 or more races has surged by more than 200%. Including here in North Carolina's Mecklenburg County.
Can you raise your hand if you are a Republican, Democrat, Independent? Does the way that you identify racially impact your politics, or specifically how you plan to vote this election?
Absolutely.
How so?
I'm not going to lend my support behind someone who does not support people who look like me.
I don't think he sees me as who I am.
Former President Donald Trump.
Yes.
And what about the rest of you?
I just don't think that Kamala Harris has anything vested in the air finger quote black or Hispanic experience in so much as it would be identified by anybody that lives in those communities.
You're saying you don't think that she can help black or brown people?
No, I mean, going to Howard don't make you black.
Uh-oh. That's actually true because anybody really could go to Howard. Going to Howard does not really make you black. So that's a fact.
A conversation that quickly turned to this moment in a July interview at the National Association of Black Journalists.
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
What did you...
That's a legitimate question, though. But let's just see how this folks address that question.
you think when you heard those comments?
Highly offensive. I mean, I think probably every multiracial, mixed race, biracial person has had the experience of someone else telling them that they are not something enough. I think it's kind of triggering, right?
Well, I have to stop this lady for a second. And the reason is, I'm not sure why if she knows the history of this or the track record of the person we're talking about here, Kamala, I'm not sure why that's an offensive question. Because 1 minute you say you are this, you don't identify with the other side, and then all of a sudden, to your benefit, you now want to identify with the other side. Then the question needs to be asked. That's okay. I'm not sure why we find everything so offensive these days. And that, for me, is the reason why we're not honest with each other, because we don't even know what offends the other person. We don't know what type of question to ask. We don't know what to say. What should I ask? What should I not ask? And that cuts through all spectrums, even in relationships. People cannot be honest anymore because they don't know what offends the other person. It's just a mess. We should be okay talking and expressing ourselves. As long as someone's not cursing you out or cursing out at someone, people may genuinely not know and really want to know. Everything should not be offensive. We have become too sensitive. God help us.
I think it is impossible to be biracial in America. And I think that it requires that you're covering all bases at all times. And it requires constant recognition of both identities. And I think when Donald Trump says stuff like that about Kamala Harris and implies that she's like picking a race for political advantage, it's tapping into an incredibly familiar sentiment that I think everyone on this panel can understand.
Have they been following the whole campaign and the reasoning for that question? I think they just taking it from the surface. He's just asking, are you Indian or are you black? But it goes beyond just that question. There's a reason the question was asked. I'm not sure they're familiar. I'm not sure they've been following why that question is legitimate. But let's just keep on listening.
Marie and Adul, as Trump supporters, when you heard that comment, as mixed people, how did it register with you?
Well, my first thought was, that wasn't very well thought out. At the same time, though, when I heard it, I didn't hear it as an attack on blacks or Indians. I heard it more so of him commenting towards identity politics and the appeal that some take to play up one side of their race over the other.
Adul, I see you nodding your head.
I agreed with him. I didn't know she identified as black because everything I saw was first South Asian, first Indian. There's none of that identified as black.
There you go.
Regardless of her parents, I mean, she was born in this country and she identifies as a black person in this country in an American way, in a uniquely American context.
Never heard her identify herself as a black woman.
That's true. And if that's true, as this lady is saying here, that she has identified as a black person, why didn't she answer the question when Dana Bash asked her the same question? Because now it's a hot topic. She could have just easily answered. Kamala could have just easily answered and say, yeah, I am black. But she says, oh, that's just him playing politics. Next question. No. If someone were to ask me today, and that's a funny question, right? Are you black or are you something else? I might laugh, but then I'll say, yeah, I am black. Evidently, the fact that Kamala did not answer the question is questionable. I'll throw this out there before we just go on. If Michelle Obama was running against Kamala Harris and Kamala went to a black neighborhood to say she is black, would we as a black community find that offensive? Would that offend you as a black person that Kamala's trying to claim black over someone like Michelle and say she's with equal race? How would you see that? Let's think about that for a second and not just be sentimental in our judgment. If you are something, just say it. Help people not make decisions on assumptions.
I think it's incredible that we've gotten to a point where the Vice President of the United States can have a wife named Usha Chilikari and a son named Vivek. That doesn't mean I won't vote against him in November.
Even though you disagree with Kamala Harris politically, do you feel some kinship towards her as a mixed person?
Not personally. I find a lot of her trajectory to not be my brand of woman leader. We've got 3 major international crises going on and someone applying to be commander-in-chief. As a woman, I want to see you do more than, appeal to giggling and having a girl moment on the stage.
Was there ever a moment that sort of forced you to confront the concept of race?
For me, it's more about ethnicity. As you guys can see, I have an accent, right? And I speak with an accent. I don't think with an accent. You just learn to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
A conversation with implications beyond the ballot box.
I think every time we see polling, it's about race. And, you know, as a candidate of color, you put a lot of stake into how this candidate represents, say, the Black experience or the Indian American experience. I think we will never ask Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Bill Clinton or George Bush to do the same thing. I think white people are expected and people of color aren't.
To do what?
To be in the highest office in the United States.
Well, there you have it. I don't quite agree with that young man. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's getting full details. Everything he's saying seems to be very surfacey on the peripheral to me. I think he needs to do a little more research about what he's saying. I think he's basing a lot of his thoughts and thought processes on discussions he may be having with his friends or people around him. I'm not sure he's getting the deep, wise counsel. I think I'd enjoin him to do a little more, because I do not agree with what he just said there. But however, that just shows us what's going on. I mean, mixed race Americans don't feel, they all kind of gravitate to a party and the others don't. At the end of the day, whether you're mixed race or you're one race or whatever you are, everyone is gravitating to a party. And you can clearly see, because it looks like we got two that were Democrats, two that were Republicans, and two that were independents. And it looks like on this video, this panel, the two independents are for the Democrats. That's what it looks like. So, which is fine. Being a mixed race doesn't stop you from voting the party that you need to vote. So at the end of the day, given all circumstances, you are still able to vote at the end of the day. So you can still change and hopefully change what you're looking for in a leader. So at the end of the day, I still think regardless of what your race is, you are still able to vote and your voice is still being heard at the end of the day. All the other stuff are things that, hey, as a nation, I think we have to grow, we have to develop into, and we have to mature and get better at, I guess. So please put your comments in the comment section below. Let us know what you think about this discussion. This was quite fascinating, to hear people from their personal thoughts on Kamala Harris and how they feel as mixed race Americans in America, what's going on, what type of leader they want, what type of leader they're looking for. And that was quite an eye opener. And I think it was, we should have more discussions like this. And I think it will help the nation as a whole. Hey, we're about to wrap it up. And you know how we like to do it. We just like to remind ourselves that we always remember that we got one life with many seasons. So let's make the best of it. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. God bless you, and I'll see you soon. You take care now. Bye-bye.